everyone. This is episode 3 of my senior project podcasts, and today I've got 2 guests. Yeah, we're upping things a little bit with Mr. Bryan Buck, who's been on before.
Hi, how you guys doing?
And Lexi Perry, who's new.
Hi.
And I didn't actually do this on purpose, but Bryan happens to be a diehard Cardinals fan because he grew up in St. Louis.
Very diehard.
And Lexi happens to be a diehard Red Sox fan. And
It's true.
Did you grow up in Boston?
I did not grow up in Boston. Do you want to know the backstory?
Yeah. Let's go.
So, my mom, she's a huge Yankees fan, except she's the type that's just in it for the wins, right?
You're right.
And my dad, from what he tells me, I turned out to be a Red Sox fan by the time I was about 3 years old, because it was then that I realized that the Red Sox are, rivals with the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went against my mom.
So you were just being a rebel at age 3.
At age 3. Started at a young age.
Yeah, nice. Okay. So this actually happened to work out quite nicely. I just kind of asked them separately to be on the podcast, not thinking about who they were fans of. But hey, guess what? The Cardinals and Red Sox are in the World Series. So
yeah,
let's talk about that. So how are you guys feeling so far? Let's start with Bryan. How are you feeling about being down 2-3?
I am not liking the 2 home losses. That was kind of brutal. But you know what? We have Walker pitching tonight, and I have all the confidence in the world that we're going to walk away with a solid win here. I mean, Walker is amazing in the postseason so far.
And the Red Sox are at home for both these games.
Yeah.
Who's pitching for the Red Sox? Do you know, Lexi?
I believe it's Lackey.
Yeah.
Lackey?
Yeah,
Oh,
Lackey.
God. The fat pitcher that almost signed with the Mariners.
Yeah. In October.
But he's been good, actually, recently.
Yeah, he's been good recently. I was worried when he first came to the Red Sox for, 2 years? And then he took that 1 year off, and now he's doing good again. So,
Yeah, because he got injured or something, didn't he?
yeah.
Yeah, fun fact. So, Waka, you were talking about Waka.
I mean, he has a 1.0 ERA and a .7 WHIP in the postseason. So,
But that's 1 year, right?
that's one. Hey, he's a
That's
rookie.
less than a year. That's the postseason.
That's his entire rookie postseason career. That is.
Is he a rookie this year?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he sounded new. Okay, cool.
Yeah, he has an 8 to 28 walks to strikeout ratio in the postseason.
But that's like 4 games. If that.
Yeah, I mean,
27
come on,
innings.
he's a rookie. One bad game could wipe that all out.
Yeah, I like the 4 starts he has so far. I mean,
Yeah, I'm neutral on this, so I'm not gonna.
he's
argue
4-0 in 4 starts, right? He has a .7 WHIP in 27 innings. That's 11 hits and 8 walks. I mean,
Small
that's-
sample sizes, though. But
small sample size.
I mean, but to be fair, Lackey is a large sample size of mediocrity, so.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, either way, which pitching staff do you guys think is better?
That's so. The Cardinals definitely have the better staff when it comes to the top 2. For right now, if you look at the
Waka
top 2
and
right now,
Wainwright?
Waka and Wainwright is the best 2 combination you can take out of any of the pitchers in the World Series right now.
Because Wainwright's doing so well so far, right?
That was 1 start. And actually, the starts he's had are not that bad. He's just not winning it. The Red Sox, however, have a bunch of, above par pitchers that are just happening to do really well in the postseason. And they're clutching it up in the postseason. They're holding the Cardinals to a lot of runs. And I got to say, most of that is because we don't have Alan Craig. But, the Cardinals have the better 2 pitchers, but the Red Sox are outperforming top to bottom.
Okay, so what I'm going to say about this is that the Cardinals definitely have better starting pitching, right? However, I think that the Red Sox have the best bullpen. And I think what it really comes down to is the best bullpen, because once you get the starting pitcher out of it, if you can get them out within the 6th or 7th inning, right, then you're good to go against the bullpen.
Yeah, and I think me and Bryan actually talked about this, that a good bullpen is like the hardest thing to come by in baseball. Because,
it's so difficult.
No, it's because pitchers are so, 1 year they're good, 1 year they're not. And so if you get a good bullpen 1 year, you're in really good shape because it's not easy to get one that's, solidly good throughout. And I mean, the next year probably they won't be as good. One thing I like with the Red Sox is that they were worse than the Mariners last year, and now they're in the World Series. I think it's interesting, but
Yeah,
Does that give you hope?
yeah, a little bit actually. But our ownership doesn't care nearly as much as the Red Sox does.
That is very true, and we don't really have that much of a supportive fan base as the Red Sox do.
Yeah, and you know what's I see you have that screen pulled up, and it reminded me of Will Middlebrooks. And one weird thing about Will Middlebrooks is that he and Mike Moustakas are almost like the exact same person. Like,
What does that mean?
like okay, so they're both third basemen that were drafted in 2007, and they were both rookies the same year, and they both have the first. They're both their names both start with M, their last names, and end with S. And they both have a shortened version of a longer name for their first name, Will for William, Mike for Michael. Their birthdays are 5 days apart. Yeah, I found a bunch of really crazy things. They both were awesome last year and sucked this year.
That is very true.
And I don't know. And they both have really long last names also.
Yeah.
Middlebrooks, Moustakas. Yeah, they're both 3 syllables.
And that's some weird things to notice.
So what are you trying to say with this? Is there like a deeper meaning here?
That, no. No, absolutely no. No meaning whatsoever. I just thought it was really cool that they were similar. I don't know. Moustakas is cool. But the Royals are always like, oh, we'll be good next year because we got 15 million awesome prospects. Then they all crap out.
That is so true. They have they're those middle of the road prospects that end up being your backup outfielder, or that utility guy on some random team that plays.
Yeah, and what happened to Montgomery? They had a pitcher that was a starting pitcher, and he was a top 5 prospect. His name was Mike Montgomery. It was something Montgomery, and he was supposed to be really good. And then I've never heard of him since.
That's
Right.
a lot. That sounds like the Mariners.
Well, I mean, they just trade them away.
Yeah.
There's a difference there. Pineda. But Pineda for Montero just did not end up good.
Oh, that was terrible.
Oh, apparently Mike Montgomery got traded to the Rays. Probably in the not Matt Garza. Who did...
Of course he got traded.
No, the James Shields trade. That's what it was. The James
Yeah.
Shields trade. Yep, he got traded to the...
Rays love to do that.
The Rays are... I wish I was a Rays fan.
Yeah.
I mean, there aren't many of them because they're all old people, and they put the team in the wrong town. But
Yeah, they really did. The sad part about the Rays is they have such good ownership top to bottom, and they have no fans whatsoever.
well, they have no money, and their stadium is crap.
Yeah, that's true.
And they're in Florida. Who lives in Florida?
Oh, a lot of people.
Florida's
Old
the
people.
4th most
Old
popular
people,
state
it's
in
true.
the country.
And also, Tampa Bay, they got put in St. Pete on, didn't they? They're not in Tampa Bay, they're in St. Pete, which is where all the old people live, and old people aren't going to go to baseball games.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that is very
they
true.
got kind of unlucky on that one.
And then, I mean, at least Miami gets the whole Cuban thing, but
Yeah.
Tampa Bay doesn't even get
Well,
that.
I would rather be a Tampa Bay fan because Jeff Loria of the Marlins is not a nice guy.
Very true.
Their owner, he likes to, he's a penny pincher of an owner.
Yeah, he is, the past couple of years, he's really thrown people for a loop.
And I remember he was like, oh yeah, we're going to sign Albert Pujols, and they threw boatloads of money at him, and he's like, nope, not happening.
I am not your bitch.
Yeah, he knew.
He was like, yeah, I'm going to take this team that actually might win, and then I'm going to make them worse.
Yeah, the Angels. Aren't you an Angels fan kind of now?
I am an Albert Pujols fan. My family's from LA, and I am a Dodgers fan when it comes to the LA rivalry. But I am an Albert Pujols fan. I have an Angels hat because I like Albert Pujols.
I remember the day he was signed. You came to school with a brand new Angels hat. I'm like, I wonder why he got that.
Yeah, I was, and then of course there's the Angels signing the people. I call it the $200 million curse. If the Angels sign someone worth $200 million, he does completely terrible the next year.
Josh Hamilton.
And
C.J. Wilson was not good that first year.
C.J. Wilson, yep.
Well, he's good now, but he wasn't.
Yeah.
I just love those hair commercials that Hamilton and Wilson
Those
are
are the
in.
most ridiculous commercials. They almost put Albert in those commercials, except he doesn't have any.
He doesn't really have much hair,
Yeah.
no.
Yep. And then he has that, what did he have? The plantar fasciitis, and he, missed the last, month.
Like Franklin Gutierrez had, but Franklin Gutierrez has had every injury known to man.
Oh my gosh. I almost don't want to talk about it just because Franklin Gutierrez could have been such a great asset for our team. He could have been, that one like setting piece. Like we have our star, we have Felix, but every team that's good always has that one guy that kind of just not necessarily is the workload guy for the team, but you always see him just doing something positive like all the time.
It's true. So
I'm trying to think of some examples and I can't think of any. Oh, like for the Cardinals, you have Mike. No, can't remember his name.
Cardinals. Oh, shoot, Matt Carpenter.
Yeah, Matt Carpenter leads the NL in hits. Right? Nobody knows who he is, but he.
I actually voted for him for the All-Star game, and I made a case on my blog for why other people should.
Huh.
Did he even get into the All-Star game?
No, he did not. He's one of those guys that nobody really knows much about, but he's always doing something. And Goody could have been that guy for us, and he still might be, but the injuries are just. It's too bad.
I kind of want to do this again. I did it last year, where I made a team of the best guys, like by WAR, who have not made an All-Star team, and like how many wins they would get in a season.
Yep.
And I calculated a team with no All-Stars that would get 131 wins.
That was an impressive. I read that blog. That was really cool because it was interesting to look at. It was almost like a Moneyball approach sense, where it's like you see all these teams that are like, "Oh, I'm gonna get this big star," blah blah blah. What does it say to you if your roster doesn't have a guy who gets intentionally walked in scenarios that deserve an intentional walk? Well, to me, it says they're top to bottom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Either there's one guy that could be intentionally walked, but there's no value in doing it because the next guy could do just as much damage or whatever. Or it says they're really poor, but I mean, that's not usually the case unless you look at, like, the Astros, right? So, to me, I almost want a team, if I were an owner or a manager or whatever, that didn't have the intentional walk guy, that didn't have the clear-cut ace. Because that means you're so top to bottom and you're so consistent that you can rely on any one of your guys to do almost any job.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, back to the World Series Game 7's tonight. Or Game 6 is tonight. Game 6, sorry. I know you guys will probably both be watching that.
Definitely.
And I want to know if you could pick one person for every position between the two teams, who do you think would make up the better team?
One person from every position. Okay, catcher. We'll start with catcher. Because Yadier Molina is the greatest defensive catcher in the history of baseball.
Well, what would you say to that, Lexi?
Well, he's not the greatest defensive catcher in the history of baseball, but I would definitely pick him in this series.
Who's better defensively?
Well, what about Pudge?
Pudge Rodriguez? No.
Yeah.
He was a good defensive catcher, but he wasn't Yadi. The Red Sox have run one time on him this entire World Series, and they have the best steal percentage in baseball this year. And they've run one time in 5 games. And they put in a pinch.
That also has a lot to do about the pitchers.
I don't know. The Cardinals have had a lot of different pitchers in, and they've only run one time. And it was a guy who's pinch running, right? He's meant to steal the base, and who's never been caught before.
Was it Jackie Bradley?
Yeah, it was Jackie Bradley. Never been caught before stealing a base. He's like 23 for 23 or something like that. He's the only guy that's stolen on Yadi this entire postseason. So,
but the salty, man, the beard.
The beard, that does a lot of work.
If you're going by beards, you would have to pick the entire Red Sox roster, you know?
It's true, they got pretty cool
Except
beards.
for Victorino. Victorino's kind of fallen behind on his beard. It's a little stubbly.
Yeah, I think that's one of their ways of trying to be the anti-Yankees, because the Yankees are all, oh, no beards, you must shave every inch of hair you have on you that's not on the top of your head.
Oh yeah.
And so I think they're trying to be like, haha, suck it, Yankees. We're having tons of beards over here.
Yeah.
Making it cool to have beards.
That's kind of funny, actually. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're going with Yachty as the catcher.
Well, Lexi, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Okay,
He had one of the best batting averages in the NL.
Wait, are we talking about both defensively and offensively?
Just as a whole player.
Yachty had one of the best batting averages in the NL this year.
No, I just wanted to make sure. I'm still agreeing with you, but going into this,
He's also one of the fastest catchers. Like, he stole a lot of bases.
Yeah. He is.
Hey, I'm just gonna throw this out there. Salty's a switch hitter. Not too many switch hitting catchers.
That's actually
kind of true because switch hitting and catching are both very hard things to do.
Yep.
This Wikipedia picture of Matt Carpenter is the most hilarious thing on the face of the planet. If you look it up, well, not that.
Where do you have to find this?
It's just pretty funny.
Okay, so Yadi's our catcher. First base.
Napoli or
I'll give it to Napoli if Craig is injured. If Craig is healthy, then it's Craig's.
Who's the first baseman otherwise?
What? For Matt Adams.
Matt Adams, yeah.
Big, chubby guy. I mean,
all first basemen are big, chubby guys.
Yeah, well, yeah, but he's especially big and chubby. He can hit for power a little bit. He can hit for average a little bit, but he's not that consistent all the
I like how Napoli was like, do you remember they're like, oh, we signed him to a 3-year deal, and then like nothing happened for 3 months, and they're like, oh, just kidding, we never actually signed him.
Yeah.
And then, because they found something in his physical they didn't like, and they waited like 3 months to say that, and then it was like February, and they're like, okay, let's just give him a 1-year deal.
That's an odd management thing that they did there. But, I mean, it makes sense if you find a guy who doesn't look like he's going to be healthy for a long time. By all means, take away his contract. You're going to save a lot of money doing that.
And what does Matt Adams do?
What?
What do you like about Matt Adams as a player?
I'm saying that Matt Adams does not deserve this.
Right, but what do you like him?
I mean, I like him. I'm not going to say I don't like the guy, but I wouldn't, say, hey, love Matt Adams, great player, blah, blah, blah. Now, Alan Craig is amazing. Alan Craig is like the next Albert Pujols.
He's 31.
I'm not going to take it that far. Albert
He's
Pujols
the same age as Pujols.
Great for a long time. But when I watch Craig, I see something that I saw in Pujols. I saw a lot of baseball games at Busch Stadium when I lived in St. Louis. And I saw a lot of Albert Pujols really, really hard hit baseballs. And it's not, balls that are going out, balls that he's getting
Line
doubles
drives.
off of. But these are line drives that one hop the fence every single time. They're hitting the fence. He's, getting easy stand-up singles, doubles, all that stuff. He is the ultimate slugging percentage hitter. And what I see in Alan Craig is the same guy. I mean, without that foot injury, it was a sprained ankle or whatever, he had that hit it hit the fence on the fly. He got a single out of it because he was limping the entire way to first. And Alan Craig is the kind of guy that does that. He hits the ball hard. He hits line drives hard. He doesn't, hit towering home runs or anything, but he hits the ball hard, and I like it a lot. But he is injured, which is...
So we're going to give this to Napoli.
No,
we're giving this to Napoli.
We're giving this to
How
Napoli.
are we giving this to Napoli?
Because Alan Craig's not in the postseason.
Oh, okay. So, Craig's injured. Yeah.
Yeah, if they're injured and not in the postseason, they're disqualified. I'm just going to lay that out right now. They have to be on the postseason roster.
So, here's my question for middle infield. Second base and shortstop.
Well, let's just start with second base.
So,
PD?
can we switch them? Can we say...
No, you can't switch them.
So-
You have to go with the regular position.
Here's what I'm looking at. Is... Dustin Pedroia is definitely better than anybody up for the spot at second base on either team whatsoever.
But you think that Carpenter's a better shortstop than Drew?
I think Matt Carpenter, as the NL leader in hits and a pretty decent defensive player, I'm not going to give him any awards or anything. He's not amazing.
Okay.
I think he'd win the spot at shortstop.
Does he play shortstop?
He's a middle infielder.
Does he play shortstop?
I am not aware if he does.
I'm going to look this up. I don't think he plays shortstop, and no, you can't just change his positions to make it better for matchups.
You can't make up your fantasy team right now.
See, what I'm looking at, though, is the second base and shortstop are almost like right field and left field. They're
but they're different positions.
Aside from the outfield, they're very interchangeable.
I mean, guys still need to be trained to move.
That's true.
So standard
Carpenter,
advanced.
here we go. Carpenter is not listed as a shortstop, but he is listed as a third baseman.
But he's not a shortstop.
But David Freese is at third.
He's never played a major league game at shortstop, so I'm going to say no, he cannot be a shortstop.
That's very fair.
Okay, so Dustin
Pedroia is far and away way better. And I remember reading some really... it was either reading or I was watching a story, and it was like... it was when Dustin Pedroia was going to be on the cover of MLB 08, the show, or whatever, and it's like... breaking news, Dustin Pedroia on cover of MLB 08, the show. Also, claims he's grown an inch.
Beautiful. Oh, I love it. Claims he's grown an inch, like it's a lie.
Well, I mean, he's fairly short.
Yeah, he's like the same height as me, which is
I
like
think he's like 5'8", maybe.
yeah, that's what I am, which is short for a what is
He's a professional
Altuve?
baseball player.
What is Altuve? Is he 5'6"?
I am not. That's not something I
Well,
would
that's-
keep track of.
Okay, I can look that up also. I know that Altuve's gotten a lot for being like he was both the youngest and shortest player on a major league roster at one point. And he's 5'5". Wow.
That's a tiny.
Is that shorter than you, Lexi?
That's like
that's
Muggsy
my height.
Bogues.
That's your height.
Yeah.
You could be the second baseman for the Astros. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. That's what I've been aspiring up to.
Yeah.
Hey, it's not a bad aspiration.
So
you make like minimum payment of professional baseball players because you play for the Astros.
well, the Astros. I mean, yeah. Well, who's their highest paid player right now?
Altuve.
Is he?
No, it was the pitcher, Bud Norris, but they traded Norris to the Orioles.
Did they trade him to the Orioles?
Yeah.
Hold on. Houston Astros. I can search this. Anyway, we're giving. We're definitely giving second base to Pedroia.
All
So
right.
that's two to the Red Sox and
And-
one to the Cardinals.
I'm gonna concede
Shortstop.
shortstop to Bogarts because he's had an amazing postseason.
Is it
and-
Bogarts or
plays
Drew?
third.
No, Bogarts is the one who's in.
Okay.
No,
What's
Bogarts is at third now?
Yeah, he's at third because Drew is always shortstop.
Oh. Okay, well, Bogarts is listed as a shortstop.
Yeah, I know he's listed as a shortstop, but in the World Series he's been playing third because why would they put Middlebrooks at third?
yeah?
That's very true.
This is hilarious, by the way. The Astros' highest paid player is Eric Bedard.
How much is he paid?
1.1 million.
Of course.
Oh my god.
That is okay. So the average major league salary is 3.2 million, I think,
Yeah.
Oh
and so
my
he's making a
gosh.
third of the average, and that's the highest on the team.
I'm surprised he's at 7 digits, though. We gotta give him that.
I mean, someone's on 7 digits on the Astros. I'm more surprised that he's the only one. Anyway,
Okay, so I want to go.
shortstop.
I want to go back to our positioning
Oh
conversation.
my god.
Bogarts is at third base, but he's listed also at shortstop. So
Oh, hold on, sorry.
He's listed at shortstop.
he is. So can we move him to shortstop? Because he would be the best shortstop option.
No, it's what they're playing right now.
Oh my gosh, this is terrible. Okay, so we have.
If we're going by injury kind of thing too, it's what they're playing right. Are you back, Alexi?
So we have
Yeah, I'm back.
Drew, who's batting.
He's trying to argue for why he could move Matt Carpenter again.
You
I
can't.
am. I want Matt Carpenter as my third baseman.
But
So, and here's another problem: is we have Drew, who's batting a flat 80 in the postseason, versus.
okay, that's okay.
I'm just saying.
That's one tool, by the way.
A
I just
flat
want that to be
80.
known.
Right. Hey, a flat 80. I could hit a flat 80
In the postseason? No, you
in the
couldn't.
postseason.
No, you
In the World
couldn't.
Series.
No,
an
you
exaggeration.
couldn't.
Versus Pete Cosmo, who's batting 143. Those are two terrible.
Okay, as players individually, who's better?
So as players,
Just like as a whole, their ability levels. Not necessarily from recent performance, just as players and their ability levels.
Okay, in the postseason, I'm just gonna say right now that both shortstops are doing pretty horribly.
Yeah, they are.
But
This
in
is
the
why I'm making
postseason,
it.
between these two teams, I would definitely pick Drew because Cosmo's been bad both offensively and defensively.
He has had a few errors.
A
this
few.
This is why we go back to the
Matt
Bogarts
Carpenter.
argument. If we put Bogarts at short and Carpenter
stop
at third, that's a beautiful deal.
You can't switch around your teams.
You have the NL leader in hits and a guy who's on fire in the postseason as a rookie.
We're not trying to
that's
make
what I want.
like the best team. We're just trying to pick the best from each position.
Okay, then I'll give it to Drew because Cosmo had those two errors in Game 1 that kind of.
Okay, so
Well,
three.
that's
our
another one
chances.
for the Red Sox,
So
yeah.
3 Red Sox and 1 Cardinal.
Three Red Sox and
So third base, David Freese versus Xander Bogaerts.
Xander Bogaerts.
I might go with Freese on this one.
So here's the deal: Freese hasn't quite had the best postseason this year, but David Freese is responsible for the greatest postseason comeback.
You
in
cannot
No.
go. Oh
No, no,
my
no, no,
God,
no, no,
we're
no,
talking
no, no,
about the current rosters.
re-edit. David Freese is responsible for the greatest baseball comeback in the history of baseball.
Excuse me. Do I have to go back to the 04 Red Sox Yankees? You know what? No, never mind. I'm
No,
not
I
getting
was
into
there.
this.
I was there. I know
I'm
it
just
very
going
well.
To say, you cannot talk about past years You cannot talk about players who play other positions primarily.
David, you can't argue that David Freese has the potential to be amazing in the postseason.
He does have the potential, but they all have that potential. Mostly on the Red Sox, I'm going to say.
Okay.
Okay.
What do you like about Bogarts, Lexi?
Well, with Bogarts, it's that he's been streaking right now. And baseball, it's a lot about, streaks, current streaks.
Which means that he's going to suck in about a week.
But I don't need him in a week.
That's true.
That's
You need
true.
him for 2 more games.
That means he's going to suck tonight.
No, I don't know what you're talking
'Cause
about.
the law
That means
averages.
he's going to stay hot until next month. You don't need him next month.
So,
I think I'm going to go with Freese, though.
Freese. All right. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
I'm the official judge on this one, and I like Freese better. Bogarts is not as old as Freese, and they're similarly skilled, but Freese has proven it more. That's what I'm going to go
Only
with.
because he's older.
Well, it's veteran stuff,
Yeah.
I mean, Middlebrooks was about as good as Freese is this year. Middlebrooks was last year, but Middlebrooks is not good
hold
this
on.
year.
We're not talking about past seasons, and we're also not talking about future seasons.
Oh, I know,
So
I'm talking
now, who would you pick right now?
Yeah, right now I'd pick Freese.
Fine.
Hey, you're still winning 3-2.
Yeah, you're still winning 3-2.
Okay, so-
left field. Let's just go.
Weird
So
how
we're
that
gonna
works.
go
I'm winning
division of
3-2.
fielding?
Huh? What's up, Lexi? What'd you say? Something about 2?
Isn't it weird how, the Red Sox are up 3-2 right now in both of these counts?
Oh.
Okay. Taking shots, huh? Okay.
Left field.
So, we're going division of left field, center field, right field?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so we have left field, we have Matt Holliday against... The Red Sox have been back and forth between
Lexi, who's the left fielder?
Gomes and Nava.
Yeah, they go back and forth between Gomes and Nava.
They have been favoring Gomes, though. Should we go with Gomes?
Well, I mean, Holiday's better than both of them.
Gomes, because I do favor Gomes.
Yeah.
But Holiday's better than both of them.
Holiday is better than both of them. I mean, you can't make an argument for more production because Holiday's had the home run. Gomes has, yes, had the home run. But
Oh, yeah, that one.
they've both had a home run, so you got to go there. Yeah, Holiday.
But Holiday's the all-star.
Holiday is the all-star. He is the guy.
You see, the thing about Johnny Gomes, though, is that he's sort of, he's a huge motivator in the Red Sox. I mean, the whole beard thing, that was his idea in spring training. And
That
he's just
doesn't mean
really
he's
motivated.
good.
We're going with Gomes because of the beards. No, I'm not. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, just because he decided that they're all going to wear beards doesn't mean he's.
I like watching you guys. I like watching you guys try to dissect little tiny reasons why they should be better. I like.
No, but seriously, he brought the whole team aspect back to the Red Sox. They all fell apart last year because they hated each other, and now they're
No.
It's the veteran leadership. That's the reason
They
why.
didn't hate each other. They hated their manager. It's
Oh, yeah.
completely different.
Everyone hated Bobby Valentine. I'm not going to get into that either. That just makes me angry.
Yeah, you're just gonna embarrass yourself.
Yeah,
Matt
team
Holliday.
chemistry. That's why Raul Ibanez worked out so well for the Mariners for team chemistry.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about that.
So
And
Matt
if they
Holliday's
re-sign him, I will talk about that again, and I will not be happy. But Matt Holliday, yeah, sorry, Lexi, 3-3. Maybe that's how the game's going to go tonight, right? No, maybe.
Yeah, it is. We have Walker on the mound.
We'll find out. And
So-
I'd actually really like to see Game 7. That'd be cool.
That would be awesome.
Let's go center
I'm
field
not feeling it.
for Game 7.
Center field is easily Ellsbury.
Ellsbury over who?
Easily, yeah.
John Jay. Yeah.
John Jay is a great defensive player, but he's not the defensive player that Jim Edmonds was. As much as I love Jim Edmonds.
And Ellsbury is a future Mariner, right?
Wow.
You heard about what they're offering him, right? They're
Yeah.
going to offer him $126 million for 6 years.
And a team who will never win a World Series.
But he lives in the Northwest, so it's okay.
Yeah, I would
That's
be
true.
very happy to have it. And you know what? A Mariners team with Jacoby Ellsbury could be a really good Mariners team.
Well,
And the way
it'd be a good place to start.
the way the Angels have been sputtering recently, the way the wow, I'm drawing a blank.
It really frustrates
The way
me.
the Rangers haven't quite been performing to potential, and the way that the A's are performing above potential,
But we can make a wild card. Yeah.
we could make a wild card easily in our league.
And here's the thing. I was really frustrated because the whole offseason I was like, Mariners, all you have to do is sign Nick Swisher and Michael Bourne. No one's going to pay them that much money, so just take them. And that's exactly what the Indians did, and the Indians made it to the playoffs with the roster not much better than the Mariners were without the two of them.
Yep.
And so the Mariners could have been in the postseason this year if they'd signed Michael Bourne and Nick Swisher. Seems easy enough.
Definitely.
And so I think that Michael Bourne then is kind of what Ellsbury is now. And so that would be really helpful for them. but I'm sure Lexi wouldn't be too happy about that. Do you even like the Mariners, Lexi?
I do not.
Do you actively dislike them?
I do not. I am neutral.
You're neutral. Okay, so
It's kind of I live in the city, but my baseball team sucks, so I like a different city kind of person.
No, I'm a person whose loyalties lie with the Boston Red Sox from the beginning. So,
All right.
the Mariners don't really mean much to me, and they never have.
what if the Mariners were in the World Series?
It depends on who they were playing in the World Series.
Would you possibly favor
you always
another?
have to pick a team to root for to make it interesting.
That's true. So if they were against like the Mets or something.
I would pick the Mets.
Yeah. Okay.
Because my dad's a Mets fan. It's in the family.
And because they're not the Yankees.
It's kind of hard to pick
That's
a
it.
random team in baseball.
I like the
Everybody
Mets
has
because they're not the
affiliation
Yankees.
somewhere. Yeah, that's a good reason to like the Mets.
And I'm sure there's like my
also-
sister lived in New York for a while, and she was a Mets fan just because she hated the Yankees.
I also like their mascot. It's a giant baseball.
Isn't that kind of what the Reds guy is too?
What's not like? Oh yeah, it's the same dude. It's kind of awkward. Okay, so center field is Ellsbury. Right
Oh,
field,
Game 7 goes to the Red Sox. So what do you guys think of right field then?
Right field is easily Carlos Beltran. I mean, Shane Victorino, he's a good baseball player and everything, but Carlos Beltran is Carlos Beltran. He bats almost 300. He has plenty of home runs, plenty of slugging numbers. He slugs almost 500.
And I mean, he did great in the past, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Also with the Mets, funny enough.
Was that with the Mets? I thought it was with the Astros.
Oh, Beltran was with the Mets for a while.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
he had
pretty
some
good.
heroics with the Astros too.
Yeah.
Yeah, never with the Mets, because, that's the Mets.
Kind of like Adam. Wait, wasn't Adam Dunn a Met at some point? I feel like
I
everyone.
do not believe so.
Yeah. Anyway, Carlos Beltran.
Yeah. I mean, Shane Victorino, he's a good player. If he wasn't going up against Carlos Beltran, he might have a chance at another outfield position.
So yeah,
Except
so you're
against
arguing for
Beltran.
moving positions again?
No, I'm not arguing for moving positions.
can't go
Stick
back
him
there.
Stick him right where he is. But Beltran wins this one.
But Victorino's got the beard. It all goes back to the beard. What do you think, Lexi? Because I think there's an argument for both sides, so I'm not going to give it to anyone necessarily yet. What do you think of Victorino?
I think there's definitely an argument for both sides, because neither of them have been really producing yet in the World Series. And defensively, they've both had their moments. The thing about Beltran, though, is that I honestly would give it to Beltran. But the thing about him is that, like Bryan was saying earlier about there being one guy in each roster that, you're going to give the intentional walk to, that's the guy in the Cardinals roster.
If Alan Craig's not in the roster.
Oh my. I mean, Alan Craig's pretty good too, but I don't know if he's better than
It's not
Beltran.
Beltran good.
So here's a big difference. Beltran's batting 270 in the playoffs.
Ooh. Sorry,
Victorino's
that's
batting
really cool.
190 in the playoffs.
So, fun thing I just found out. So, Victorino has more than double the WAR that Beltran had this year. Beltran had a WAR of 2 flat, and Victorino had a WAR of 5.6.
Well, yeah, because, if you're looking at the entire year, Victorino added a lot to the Red Sox roster.
Including his lack of beard.
Hey, to each their own.
His Hawaiian peach fuzz.
Oh yeah, the flying Hawaiian.
That's kind of cool.
He definitely has the best nickname on
I
the
like
team.
Victorino because he's from Hawaii.
But, 5.6 versus 2.0. I mean, I know not to go exclusively by WAR, but that's a pretty big difference.
She did say she would give it to Beltran. So.
Sure. I'm gonna give it to Victorino though, just so there's an interesting little discussion about pitching.
Okay.
I'm bringing.
Okay.
Well, to be fair, I gave the other one to Freese,
That is true.
Which definitely should have gone to Bogarts.
and so now I'm flip flopping. So one
Thank
person,
you.
one goes to each.
Okay.
And so pitching. Let's talk about. Should we talk about as a whole starting pitching or like individual
I think
pitchers
we should go starting pitcher, relief pitcher.
and bullpen? So
And
or and closer.
Yeah.
So there's
Wait,
an odd number.
So what, are we picking, so for each of our teams, are we picking a starting pitcher, relief, and closer, and then, debating over that?
Should we pick the best starter and from each team, or should we pick the starting rotation as a whole?
Best starter. Let's go with just one.
Yeah, one starter.
Okay, so
Let's
you
keep it
guys are
simple.
both pretty confident in your aces. Let's hear it.
Well, because I have Waka.
You're picking Waka over Wainwright in this case. You're gonna go with Waka.
As he should, let's be honest.
Yeah, Wainwright is a great pitcher consistently, but Waka is doing so well in the postseason. So I'm going to go with Waka.
So
who are you going with, Lexi?
Lester, probably.
Lester, of
Yep.
course.
Yeah. That's
I'm not gonna go by WAR. You got lucky. You dodged the WAR bullet. I can't use WAR because you didn't pitch enough, Waka.
Oh.
So we can't use WAR. It's not reliable in this case.
All right. I like that. Lester has innings by 7.2. Waka has 27. Lester has 34.2. Waka has a .70 whip. Lester has a .95 whip.
They're both really good.
Waka has a 1.0 ERA. Lester has a 1.56.
One's a lefty, one's a righty.
Yeah. It is an advantage that Lester is a lefty in some scenarios.
Yeah, power-wise.
In most scenarios.
Lester has one more strikeout and the same number of walks.
Per 9, are we talking?
No, just complete total. However...
Really? But Lester pitched like 200
Lester
innings.
has
or
7 more innings, actually.
213.
Wait, are we talking just
Waka.
this season?
Yeah, we're talking
No.
just the season?
Oh, the season? Oh, I was talking about postseason.
Oh, we're talking postseason.
Postseason.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm talking postseason.
I was
because-
like, Waka has not pitched that many innings.
Yeah, me and Anders are both here like, what are you talking about? You're insane.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can go by whichever postseason or regular season. You can make arguments either
I like
way.
going by postseason just because
It's the smallest sample size, and you can use it to your advantage.
I can
Always.
use it to my advantage because Walker's doing so well. Hey, well, if you're going to go with Lester during the regular season, I would gladly point out the 3.75.
No, I'm not
ERA.
going with Lester during the regular season, and there's
Yeah.
a reason why.
Lester is a very slightly above average starting pitcher during the regular season. And
Another guy with ties to the Northwest, the Mariners could
Yep.
eventually sign. But
he's from Tacoma.
Tacoma.
oh, is he? I didn't even know that. I thought it was like
From
Oregon.
Tacoma.
It's just Tacoma.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, I think we should go by postseason. So, Lester is slightly worse during the postseason. In my opinion.
I think for the next podcast, I'm going to create an all Washington roster and see what it looks like.
That would be
Ugly.
interesting. That would be
Ugly.
interesting.
It would
But-
be ugly. Your only 2 spots would be Ellsbury and Lester.
Well, Ellsbury's from Oregon, actually.
Ellsbury.
Oh yeah, Washington,
Lincecum.
right all Northwest, right?
Yeah, you have Lincecum, who's from like literally a couple miles from here.
Brent Lillibridge.
Lillibridge.
There's some Yankee guy, Colin something, who was really ordinary, but he was from like Issaquah.
You can make Theo our outfielder.
We're pulling from the minor leagues now, from the
Oh,
rookie,
yeah. Oh,
rookie
yeah.
from the rookie level minor leagues.
Drafted from our high school.
I mean,
Straight to the dump.
I'm not saying that he's not great. I'm sure he probably will be, but as of right now,
He could have been so much better if he had just taken the deal at UC Santa Clara. But anyways,
I mean, yeah, but there's a whole argument versus going to college versus pros. I mean, what if
Yeah.
you get injured in college?
yeah,
But then there's also what if you get injured in the pros and you don't have a degree to fall back on.
yeah,
So I mean, it can hurt and harm you. You never know which way it's going to go.
definitely. Okay, so
Anyway,
Lester or Walker?
Lester or Waka? Oh shoot.
Well, I thought we were gonna find a starter, one relief pitcher, and the closer, and take them as a whole.
Oh no, I'm taking starter, then reliever, then closer as separate
Okay.
categories.
Okay, yeah.
And whoever gets 2 out of 3 will win because we're tied at 4 all right now.
Because we're tied at 4, yeah.
Maybe that's how this game will go tonight. That'd be a cool game.
Definitely.
See, no, I feel confident in my bullpen, so
Anyway, for starter, Lester or Waka. I would probably go with Lester because he's been pitching longer. But Waka also
Really?
pitched better this year.
Yeah.
And so
Waka
if we're
was
going by this year, I'd
amazing
go with
this year.
Waka.
Yeah.
you sort of have to go by this year, because it
Yeah.
is this year.
Yeah, and Lester has been he's been a surefire ace for his
Yes.
career, but this year, and we're going by this year, and I agree that we're going by this year. So Lester, and you said no past or future. So Waka, I'm going with Waka. Bullpen. Should we pick the whole bullpen or the best bullpen pitcher?
Best bull. What I like to. I want to single out closer.
Well, we're gonna do that as a
And-
separate category.
Right. So for bullpen, I think we should go up and down. 'cause
Okay, the whole thing.
You can kind of consider closer part of the bullpen. He's just
Yeah.
a special part of the bullpen. So that'll be the single spot in the bullpen, and then the entire bullpen will be a different thing.
Okay, so let's go entire bullpen. Who's
So, the Red Sox definitely have a good bullpen, but
A good bullpen?
it's pretty up and down. It's very consistent. But the Cardinals bullpen.
Who are all the bullpen members from each team? Who are the bullpen members from each team?
So
I
let's
just
go
want to
with the
single
Red Sox. The Red Sox have Junichi Tozawa, Matt Thornton, Craig
Yeah.
Breslow, Brandon Workman,
Is that it?
and there's one more. Franklin
DuBrant.
Morales.
Oh, DuBrant and Morales.
Oh yeah, well DuBrant is their 5th starter, so we'll throw him in the bullpen
Because the postseason, yeah.
Because he's in the bullpen.
In the
Let's be
postseason.
honest.
It's like Tim Lincecum last year.
Okay, for the Cardinals, you have
Oh,
Trevor.
also Dempster.
Dempster? Okay, yeah, whatever.
Oh right, okay. You have Trevor Rosenthal, John Axford, Randy. Okay,
Choate.
I can never.
Randy Choate.
Choate. Okay, I never pronounced that right. Seth Manist,
Who?
Kyle Segrist. You have what's his name?
Mark Zipchinski, is he still there?
Yes, Zebchinski is. However, I don't think he's been used this postseason.
Maybe he wasn't in the roster.
Yeah, probably when they downsized the roster. Who's that young guy that they have?
I don't
The
know.
right-handed. He's number 62, and he's a rookie, and he throws like 98-mile-an-hour fastballs and stuff. He pitches really well.
For the Cardinals?
Yes.
You should know your team, man. Know your team.
I don't know why I can't remember.
Lance Lynn? No, he's a starter. Edward Mujica?
Mujica is our closer.
Oh, just kidding. Carlos Martinez.
Yes, Carlos Martinez. He's doing really solid.
You couldn't remember Martinez? They call him the Mini Pedro.
Yeah, I remembered that. I just couldn't remember his name.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so I'd like to hear the cases
So we have
for
that.
both.
Um,
Let's go with Lexi first, because Bryan always goes first.
Yep, I do. I like to go first.
Well, okay, so let's say we're going, because you went with Lester to begin with. The thing is that you only really need one or two relief guys, really, with the Red Sox. And I mean, between Tozawa and...
Yeah, wait. You can't change the rules. We said up and down.
Yeah. You can't just, single out your top 2.
Okay. So what I'm going to say is that the Red Sox bullpen, up and down, they're pretty reliable overall. But the thing is that Tozawa definitely stands out. You know, he's our definite setup guy.
Yeah, I actually...
And I don't have stats open. I'm not a good...
No,
I have him up right now.
We're handling
Tozawa,
that.
in the postseason, Tozawa has a 1 flat whip and a 1.29 ERA. Under 7 innings of work, he has 6 hits, 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts with 1 earned run. In the regular season, he's a little bit worse, but that's just because there's a larger sample size. 1.2 whip, 3.16 ERA. With 68 innings pitched, he had 70 hits, 24 earned runs, 72 strikeouts, which is a pretty solid number, and 12 walks. So I like that walk to strikeout ratio.
Walks.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway.
I actually like Tozawa. He was on my fantasy team. He was when he was a setup man, but then they made him into a closer, and he couldn't get a single save to save his life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Tozawa isn't the closer anymore,
It's
so...
true. I like Tozawa a lot, actually.
Yeah, especially as a setup guy. And, I mean, the other thing about him is that he's really good for those 1 or 2 innings that he needs to be.
But so are most pitchers. Like, if you turn Felix into a bullpen pitcher, he'd probably be, one of the best.
Oh, yeah.
Because starters are better than relievers because they can pitch for better longer. And so usually getting demoted to a reliever is exactly that, getting demoted.
But the thing is that, as a relief pitcher, he's great. Which is what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I didn't even know Axford was on the Cardinals.
Axford got traded to the Cardinals. I was
It's
excited.
like I didn't know Morneau was on the Pirates until they were 2 games in the postseason, and he was probably on there for months. But there were just trades that fly over my head for some reason. But anyway, so as a whole, what do you have to say about the Cardinals, Bryan?
What I have to say about the Cardinals is Trevor Rosenthal, 10.2 innings pitched, 0 earned in the postseason.
Well, I mean, Lucas Luetke had of the Mariners 2 years ago had 21 innings of no runs, and now he sucks. But we're not talking about the future.
This is about the postseason right now.
We are talking about right now.
Randy choked 3.1 innings, no earned runs.
3.1 innings.
Hey, it's 3 innings with no earned. John Axford.
That's not hard to do, Brian.
5.2 innings.
And you know what? If those innings weren't back to back, they mean nothing really.
An inning of no runs allowed is a solid inning. Would you not take that? John Axford has 5.2 with only 1 earned, and that's on 9 strikeouts.
Seth Manis?
Seth Manis.
Never heard of him.
He only has 4.2 innings, and he has 1 earned. And Kyle Seagrist has.
Kevin Seagrist.
Kevin. Oh, I thought.
You think of Kyle Seager.
Oh,
I was about to say you're a little confused there.
Yes, I am. And Kevin.
I don't think he'd make a
Your
very
own
good
team.
I don't think he'd make a very good bullpen pitcher. Kyle Seager.
Yeah, me neither. Seagrist has 4.2 innings with 2 earned. So that is 5 pitchers with only 4 earned runs over 15, 22.
He's doing math, if you can't tell.
22, 26.
It might be a while.
27. Hey, I'm in AP stats. I am not.
I am too, I hate
that is over 30 innings of work and only
Can I
4
get that,
earned
30?
runs.
So you think up and down the Cardinals bullpen's more consistent. It's
Definitely.
deeper.
Definitely.
Okay. And like
No, the thing about it though is that with the Red Sox, Tazawa and Dubront, they're really reliable. And the thing that you have to remember with the bullpen is that it really depends on how well your starter does. So up and down, a team might have a really good bullpen up and down, but the other thing is that you do have to take into account the fact that usually you're only going to have 2 or 3 guys from your bullpen in a regular game. In a postseason game, you would hope only 1 and then the closer.
Which is why it's nice to have Trevor Rosenthal, who hasn't allowed an earned run all of the postseason, and he has almost 11 innings pitched, with 17 strikeouts and only 2 walks and 4 hits.
I kind of like it's tricky for me on this one because
He really likes Tazawa. I know you do.
I do like Tazawa actually. The thing to me is that the Red Sox seem to have better individual pitchers. If we were to go with the best pitcher from each bullpen, I would definitely go with the Red Sox in this case. But we decided to go for whole bullpen up and down, and
Which was a stupid decision.
for that reason, I think I'd take the Red Sox. Just kidding, I'm taking the Cardinals.
Who you?
Okay, Cardinals. So that brings up
The closer.
And I'm not even gonna try to argue this. Mujica is a great closer. I'm gonna praise him. I'm gonna say I am so happy we have Mujica. He does a great job. I wish we had Garcia, because Garcia was.
You
awesome.
wish you had Uehara.
But yes, Uehara is the best closer for the past 3 months. He is.
For the past 3 months, he's done well all year. Well, since they put him in the closing position.
Yeah.
How about Jason Grilly?
Since the All-Star break.
I'm taking Jason Grilly.
So, the past 3 months.
Well, I mean.
So here's what happened. Grilly was great until the All-Star break, just after the All-Star break when he got injured. And then, literally 2 days after Grilly got injured, or 2 days before, or whatever, it was, almost the exact same time, Uehara becomes amazing.
Yeah.
So, Grilly is the definite best closer, and then, once he gets injured,
That's the thing about closers is that
definite
next
best
year, no one's going to know who Uehara is.
Yeah.
And
Rivera was the only day-to-day guy.
But now Rivera's going to be retired. Who's going to be the next good closer?
When the Red Sox had Papelbon, that was always fun, except,
No,
when
he's a
they
Philly.
traded him, he sort of dropped off the charts again.
Well, didn't they have both Papelbon and Madsen, and then they were both amazing. Then Madsen went to the Reds and got injured, and he probably could have been a really good closer. And then Papelbon went to the Phillies, and was he?
And now, I
Was he
won't say
good?
it sucks, but it sucks.
Right. Anyway, so this competition goes to the Red
Uehara.
Sox.
Yes, it does.
And Uehara. But a very close score. Was it 6-5?
It was 6-5, and
To the Red Sox.
we gave you first base to Napoli because Craig is injured. So
But we also didn't switch positions, and you wanted to switch positions.
yes, that's true.
Oh, and one more thing. Remember that the last 2 games are in an American League park, and you know what you get in an American League park? David Ortiz.
That's true.
So just to solidify the nail there.
Just to solidify it.
David Ortiz.
The nail in the coffin. David Ortiz over, who's the National League DH?
There is no National League.
Right, but
DH.
who's the Cardinals DH?
The Cardinals DH would be.
Who would they been using as their DH?
That's a good.
I thought they were
question.
using Jay as their DH for their first 2 games.
That's weird. Because
Yeah.
he's a center fielder, like a defense first center fielder.
Who they put in?
Yeah,
Shane
no, I
Robinson?
remember them having Jay, didn't
Oh
they?
yeah, because they put Shane Robinson in. Yep.
Yeah.
So
Well,
So-
Ellsbury's still better than Shane Robinson.
then that's true. That's true. So, but you go back to if Alan Craig was healthy.
If
But then you go back to, if it was in a National League park, David Ortiz would be the first baseman. And he's probably, you could say he's better than Craig.
But you know what? David Ortiz, he did pretty well in that National League ballpark.
That was hilarious.
Oh, it was hilarious.
Him playing first
I
base, I
loved-
just love seeing him, like, I'd love to see him play, like, shortstop.
Oh, that'd be
Let's not
hilarious.
think about that. That sounds painful.
It's like Miguel
everyone.
Cabrera playing third base. He just is not.
And Pablo Sandoval playing third base when he was a
Yeah.
catcher.
Yep.
Brandon Inge, who was a third baseman, was also a catcher at first. And so was Ryan Domit. And now he's an outfielder, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
Ryan
And
Domit.
then who was it? Bryce Harper was a catcher.
Bryce Harper was a
I
catcher.
remember reading a huge article about how the Nationals were like, we do not give a crap how good Bryce Harper is at the catcher position.
Well, now they have Wilson Ramos, who...
yeah.
Didn't he get suspended? I don't know.
Wilson
I feel like he was... Anyway, I know he got kidnapped last year.
I don't understand why they don't put Sandoval at first.
Because
Do
who
you?
else do they have? Aubrey Huff?
No, Brandon Belt.
Oh, what happened to Aubrey Huff? Is he gone?
Aubrey Huff.
I think he's gone.
Yeah, he's probably gone.
Brandon Belt.
Brandon Belt. He's not the kind of guy that Sandoval is. I feel like Brandon Belt would do a better job at third base than Sandoval would. I mean, what's Sandoval gonna do? Be a wall?
Yeah, it's true.
He's a big guy.
So we've been talking about baseball for about an hour now, which gives us about 30 minutes to talk about something else. What say you, the NBA?
Who's you?
Who's you? You is both of you. I actually thought that you dropped the call, but you're still here. I guess.
You were boring me, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry. You're a Celtics fan, right, Lexi?
I am. The only thing is that I'm not too into the NBA. I prefer to watch college basketball
There we
because
go,
the
then
NBA. It's
Let's
more-
do college then.
Let's
'cause-
talk college, and let's talk something that I think is very necessary.
Hold on.
to talk
First of
about.
all, we can get back to that. Remember what you were gonna say. What team do you prefer in college, Lexi?
In college?
Yeah, just so we can solidify this.
Well, I mean, for most college sports, all college sports actually, I go with the Huskies, the UW Huskies.
That's what I say.
Yep.
And Bryan likes Huskies too, so I guess we can all agree on that one.
I like Huskies. I also like Colorado State, and I like Mizzou. Those are my 3 teams.
Oh, hold on. Do you pick teams based on how good they are, or does your heart actually lie with them?
Well, I'm going to Colorado State, and I lived in Missouri, so.
Okay, I feel you.
Yeah.
And I could say that I'm a fan of UNC or Syracuse or Northwestern then, because those are schools I want to go to.
Well, I already know I'm going to Colorado State. That's where my dad went. I've already been
Oh, okay,
pretty much
sorry.
accepted, so.
Okay, so what was the important topic you had?
Important topic I had is the dramatic overhyping of Andrew Wiggins. The guy hasn't played a single second of a real competitive basketball game. He played Pittsburgh State for the first time in any real game, and it was an exhibition game, doesn't count for anything, last night. He put up 16 points. He played pretty well. But
16 isn't spectacular. That's kind of...
he played well all around. 16's not spectacular, but it is college basketball.
And it is the Kentucky Wildcats.
Yeah. What? No, he doesn't play for Kentucky. He plays for Kansas.
Wiggins?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I am 100% sure he plays for Kansas.
It's just getting awkward.
Why?
No, Kentucky has the big
Back to facts.
6'9" guy. Like, his name's like Jason Carlos or something like that. He's like 6'9" and he has really good handles and just, he's...
You win. Yeah, he's in Kansas.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really weird. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, so what I don't like is everybody's like, oh, he's already number 1 on a draft pick. Whoever, you know...
I think Marcus Smart will be the number 1 draft pick.
Marcus Smart. There's a number 1... There's the thing. Marcus Smart's good. You got...
You got that one kid from, is he from like Croatia? No, he's from Australia. There's like
Yeah.
that one guard
Yeah.
from Australia.
There's always a couple guys from out of country who are good. I don't understand why the hype is so high on Wiggins. Yeah, he's a great basketball player.
Who are
See
they
what
comparing him
happens
to?
first.
Who are they comparing him to? I
Um,
haven't been hearing much about him. Are they saying he's like a LeBron or...
no, they're comparing the Kentucky guy to a LeBron. They're comparing Wiggins to like more of like a big Allen Iverson or like a thinned out Carmelo kind of guy. You know, like a guy who plays like small forward shooting
Right.
guard who can get down and work around in the low area but is never meant to be like a big or anything like that.
But it's interesting. There are players that do really well in high school or really well in college, and then they disappear in the NBA.
Yeah.
Like Jimmer Fredette.
That happens all the time, though.
Jimmer Fredette was like the star. He was the star of college basketball, and then he just like disappeared.
Yep.
What even happened to him?
Well, I
He
can look
plays
that
for
up.
the Jazz.
Oh, really? Did he get traded?
That's what I remember seeing the last time I saw him.
He is a point guard. Yes, that is correct. Thank you, ESPN. And he plays for the Sacramento Kings still.
Oh, he plays for the Kings.
He still plays for the Kings.
Huh.
No, you know what happens? A bunch of those stars always end up with the Kings, and then I don't know what it is about the Kings. Maybe they're just the black hole of the NBA, but I swear they all just disappear there.
You know, I don't care if the Kings are the black hole of anything. I would still like to have them in our city.
I just like a
I
team.
would take them in Seattle in a heartbeat.
You know what would be awesome about the Kings is they have Isaiah Thomas, and not the original Isaiah Thomas, but the Isaiah Thomas from UW.
UW Isaiah Thomas.
So that would be cool to bring back a UW player and put it back in.
I want Isaiah Thomas back. That'd be so much fun.
I remember that game, that cold-blooded game where he made that game-winning shot against Arizona, and it was tied at like 77-all. And my dad and I were in the room watching TV, and we were both standing up, and my dad was like, "It's Isaiah Thomas time," and he was like, Isaiah Thomas was like, "Take the ball up the court." My dad's like, "He's just gonna take it himself, and he's gonna make it," and he totally did. He's just like, whoosh, and it was like that was an amazing shot.
Yeah.
And it solidified them being in the NCAA tournament, and that was the last time they made the NCAA tournament because Coach Romar is struggling right now. Do you think they'll make it again this year?
No.
Do you think they'll finally
This
make it?
year,
No.
No.
Do you guys know anything about the team this year?
I don't know a ton. I know that Wilcox is like a disappointment, but not quite a disappointment.
He actually, they say that last year his woes were due to his foot was bothering him, and he had a sore toe for like the entire season, and so he couldn't get a good jump, and he got surgery over the off season.
Huh.
So
hopefully that helps.
Hopefully that helps him.
You know, we got him. I don't know much about our
Your
recruiting
recruits,
or anything
yeah.
like that. Do you know much about it?
Yeah, I think that the starting rotation, and I don't know, Lexi, how much do you know about the roster for the Huskies this year?
Very little about
little.
this year's roster.
Okay, so I think their starting lineup is going to be C.J. Wilcox is one of their guards. Usually the Huskies run 3 guards and 2 forwards, so I'm going to go assuming that. Nigel Williams-Goss is this new point guard. You may have heard of him.
I recognize him.
He's supposed to be better than Tony Roten was.
Okay.
And he's completely opposite of Roten. Roten was one of those guys who makes his own plays, and he's not really a good team player, but he's a great athlete.
Right.
Williams-Goss is known for when scouts were asked about like what they liked about him, what was usually said was like his intangibles. Like he knew what to do with the ball in his hands. He knew how to control an offense. He made very mature decisions, and he's also not a bad shooter. And he has a very high basketball IQ, and he always seems to make the right decisions, which is also the opposite of what Abdul Gaddy was like for us before.
Yeah, a guy with good basketball intelligence is exactly what our program needs, because we haven't really had very much.
Right, and Abdul Gaddy was not a leader, and that was part of the reason why I think the Huskies struggled last year was because they didn't really have a clear-cut leader. And they're saying that even though Williams Goss isn't going to be a captain because he's a freshman,
Right.
he'll probably act like one. Also, Andrew Andrews, I think, will start at guard. He wasn't that spectacular last year, but he was pretty solid in those games that he did play with the Huskies last year, and I think they'll give him a chance. And then Paris Blackwell is this new recruit forward he was a transfer from the University of San Francisco, and he's supposed to be like kind of, they're comparing him to John Brockman, but I don't know if that's really a fair comparison, because I don't think you can compare anyone to John Brockman. Lexi, what's going on there?
My mom keeps trying to call.
You?
Yes.
Text her. Or step out of the room and call her.
We only have one room. We're poor.
Oh, okay. Well then.
I'm joking. That was a joke.
Okay. Anyway, Paris Blackwell. He's very dominant inside force, and he's a good rebounder. And I think it's exciting for us to have someone that's good on the inside. And Kemp was great last year.
Yeah.
Once he got his feet wet, he was dominant those last few years.
I only went to one game last year, and I watched like.
Do you remember who they were
on
playing?
TV. They played Colorado in the game I went to.
Okay, they barely won that one, right?
Yeah, it was a good basketball game though. But the guy I liked was
It was like 64-54, I think.
Yeah, Jaru or however you.
Yeah,
pronounce it.
Jaru.
Yeah, he looks promising. Was a freshman last year, sophomore this year, and I'm going over to football now. If he can do what Keith Price didn't, and that's have a successful transition year, that freshman or sophomore year where the guy kind of steps out into the light, and then there's the second year, right? Keith Price had his terrible second year to all kinds of interceptions. If Jaru can have a year like that, and if we can get a couple other guys like that, like Kemp, to get that second year where they're starting and they can stay consistent and they can stay solid producers, I like this team a lot.
Yeah, I also they're a lot deeper this year than they were last year.
Yeah,
I feel like last year there was a bunch of players that Romar felt like he couldn't play because they weren't ready for games, like Bryan and Hakeem Stewart, and these are guys that were on scholarships, like they had a right to be like on the team, and they were supposedly players that could contribute. And I don't think you should give a scholarship to a player unless you feel like he could contribute to your team. But that's kind of what happened, and he ended up playing walk-ons instead. Like Quinn Sterling got some minutes here and there. Deion Overstreet, I don't think ever played, and he's off the team now anyway. But Sterling's actually back as a walk-on because we have a transfer, and so he's there to take up that spot. But the Huskies are way deeper this year than they were last year, and I think it's going to be exciting to see. They have their first game they have an exhibition. They had their first regular season games on the 10th against Seattle University. I think it's at home for us, but I'm not sure. And that's like an annual game they do. Usually they do it in the middle of the season, but this year they're doing it at the beginning. And they have a game against Central Washington, which is an exhibition. I think it's like on the 6th of November or something. So it's coming up in a couple of weeks. And me and my dad have season tickets, so we go to every home game, and it's awesome.
That sounds like a good deal.
Yeah, and so, I'm actually kind of excited. I feel like they could do well this year, and the Pac-12 is way better this year than it was last year and in previous years. People are projecting the Huskies to be like 8th in the Pac-12, which I don't think is fair, because after say, Arizona, Colorado, and Oregon, I think it's anyone's game. I think the Huskies could be better than UCLA even. But that's just me.
They lost Muhammad. I mean, that's where almost all of their whatever came from last year was they had Shabazz Muhammad.
I remember watching a UCLA game toward the end of the year, and the UCLA fans are chanting, one more year, and I was like, you guys know that's never going to happen. That's the only reason he came to UCLA was to leave right away.
Yeah.
What team is he on now? Do you know?
No, I don't know.
I can
don't
find
really
that out.
follow when they go through to the NBA. One thing I do like about us is, it doesn't really help our RPI or anything like that, or our BPI or any of that kind of strength of schedule rankings. We have a really easy non-conference schedule.
Well, yeah, I mean...
We have at home against Connecticut, who really has kind of dropped off. We have at San Diego State.
Wait, come on. You can never... I mean, you always have to take UConn seriously.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I'm saying, though. I'm highlighting our big games. We have at home... They've dropped off, but they're still UConn. We have at San Diego State, which we'll probably lose.
Well, I mean, I've heard so we play Indiana early in the year, and we play San Diego State early in the year. Both are probably going to be ranked by the time we play them. However, they're both in rebuilding phases and have brand new, fresh rosters that aren't likely to translate well right away. Whereas the Huskies may be able to take advantage of teams like that, so we could get lucky.
We could.
The thing about those I don't want to say legendary, but I can't think of a better word, but teams like that, it's that they have so much history about their team, so you know that they're going to get these guys, you know that they're going to have these crazy team bonding things, you know, because they're known as those great basketball schools.
Yeah, and it's kind of true. I mean, especially when the coaches vote, like, right now the coaches' rankings are actually out already. And, you know, a lot of them, I see, you know, coaches, it's not their job to know who's a good team. It's their job to focus on their players. And so they're not nearly as informed as some other teams might be, or some, you know, as writers might be, because writers, their job is to make the 25. And so, you'll see a lot of big-name schools at the top of the list. I'm just going to go down the list. 1 is Kentucky, 2 is Michigan State, then Louisville, Duke, Arizona, Kansas, Syracuse, Florida, Michigan, Ohio State. There's your top 10, and they're all known basketball schools. And then you got, you know, UNC, Oklahoma State, Memphis, Gonzaga, VCU, Wichita State, Marquette, Oregon, Connecticut, New Mexico, Wisconsin, Notre Dame, UCLA, which is surprising, and Indiana and Virginia.
But you know what? Those are all still known basketball schools, except for, VCU?
VCU and Wichita State, yeah.
VCU is... they're known.
Well, they're known now.
Well, I mean, they're known now. They haven't been... I mean, they're recent.
But is Wichita State even good? I mean, like, besides that Final Four run they made last year, are they good this year?
Well, did they lose anybody from last year?
That's another good question. I have no idea. Something...
Who knows about Wichita State?
Yeah, I remember when I made the bracket, Pittsburgh played Wichita State in the 8-9 game, and then whoever that won that was going to play Gonzaga. And I picked Pittsburgh to win that game and then win against Gonzaga and then make it to the Final Four.
My favorite bracket that I've ever had was a couple years ago with both VCU and Richmond. You remember that?
Yeah.
When they both made it, not to the Final Four, I think they both made it to the Elite Eight, right?
Yeah. And VCU
went
made
on
the
to the
Final
Final
Four,
right?
Yep. Yeah, didn't you call that just because you liked Virginia?
Dropping off.
Oh, didn't you call that game just because you liked Virginia?
No, I called that game because my family is from Richmond, and both those schools are in Richmond, Virginia.
So you just picked VCU to go to the Final Four because you liked Virginia?
I picked VCU to go to the Final Four because I have family ties.
That's hilarious.
And it worked out for me.
And you're like the only person on the face of the planet that guessed that, because I remember when the brackets were made, it was UAB and VCU, and everyone was like hating on the fact that they even made the tournament.
Yeah.
And
you know
UAB was out
it.
immediately.
It was just me and the rest of my family that picked it, but we did good.
I remember there was 3 years ago when UConn won the NCAA tournament, and I was making my bracket before that, and I had UConn as the champion. I showed it to my friend, and he talked me out of it.
Ah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's why you don't show your bracket to people.
That's why, yeah.
Until it's all until it's finalized, you shouldn't tell people, because then they can talk you out of it. And also, don't watch ESPN if that's another bracket pointer.
ESPN never gets it right.
ESPN always is like, oh yeah, this upset's gonna happen. Like, I remember so many kids were confident about the Bucknell beating Butler or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, Bucknell's gonna beat Butler, and I'm like, what makes you say that? And they're like, oh, ESPN told me. I'm like, that's what I thought. And I've learned the hard way, because they always say, oh, this school's gonna be an upset for sure. And no, that's never right. What I like doing is if you have ESPN Insider, there's this guy that makes it's called the Giant Killers blog, and he uses these new stats that they've created, which examines the likeliness of a giant killer, which is a lower team, beating a giant, which is a high seed. What makes a good giant killer is a team that is they're older players, and so they make better decisions. They play slow pace offense, so if they get ahead, it's harder to come back against them. They force a lot of turnovers, and they shoot a lot of 3-pointers. Not necessarily if they make them, but they shoot a lot of 3-pointers. And they get a lot of, or they crash the offensive glass a lot, or they try to. That way, if everything works well for them, they have a better chance of winning, because it's like they play high-risk basketball. So that if everything works out for them, then they can beat a team they can surprisingly beat a really good team. And a vulnerable giant is a team that doesn't defend the glass well, doesn't defend the 3-point line well, plays really quickly and generates and gives away the ball often, like a giant that plays high risk. And so it's kind of interesting. And I read a lot of those articles, and it actually helped me with my bracket a lot.
Kentucky was one of those high-risk giants last year. I said they weren't really.
So was New Mexico. Always has that.
Yeah.
Steve Alford, who's the coach of UCLA now, and he was a coach in New Mexico the last couple of years, is awful at making good high seed tournament teams. He always makes very vulnerable giant teams. And so if UCLA is in the tournament this year, I would probably pick them to lose in the first round to whoever they happen to play. Just because that's the kind of team that he ends up making. And the the Florida Gulf Coast thing, I don't think anyone called that.
No.
I was looking at that.
Okay, no, I have one really good story about last year's March Madness.
Let's go.
My dad, he always has this work bracket, right?
Yep.
And it's mostly guys. I think there's 2 or 3 women in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And remember the thing with LaSalle?
What's that? Oh, how they won. They made the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one saw that coming, right?
Yep.
The only person in the entire work bracket, which I was part of, because, they encourage family to be in that.
Yeah.
She screwed us all over because she picked LaSalle. And we go up to her the next day, we're like, why'd you pick LaSalle? She goes, wait, what's... Oh, you mean LaSalle? Well, I picked them because they're a girls' school. Oh, we were pissed. She won, of course.
Nice. That's really funny. I remember I did a coin flip bracket where I coin flipped every single one.
My coin flip bracket didn't do very
Mine
bad.
did awesome. It picked LaSalle to make the Sweet 16. And it picked Harvard to win the first round game.
My coin flip bracket had Wichita State in the Final Four.
Wow.
I was
there you go.
pumped about that. I was like, yeah!
But in my coin flip bracket, California won the whole thing. And I'm like, I have to stick with this, as the coin said. And it made it to the Sweet 16. I mean, that's pretty cool. But then, of course, there were 12 seeds, so they got destroyed.
Hold on, wait. Bryan, I thought it was you last year where we were all in one of our classes filling out different brackets, and you picked one girl to just fill out the whole bracket, and you got to the Florida Gulf Coast, right? And
that was in health. That was in health, and it was Amara Cairns. And I was just listing off names, and I was like, blah 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 or blah blah blah. Okay. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, and she just picked them, and I swear to God, she picked them all perfectly. Even Florida Gulf Coast. She goes, "Oh, they're in Florida. I'm picking them because that's where that guy ate the other guy's face." Oh my God.
Yeah.
She pissed me off so much, and then, oh my God, they did so well, and I was just so pissed.
Sometimes I hate it when people who know nothing about college basketball get it right, and then you can't argue with them because they were right.
So the deal is I'm done making an at-home bracket with all the people that don't know anything because they pick ranks so much.
Yeah, I hate people that just pick the top seeds, and people that they show me their Final Four and it's all 1 seeds, and I'm like, that has literally never happened in college basketball before.
Yeah. It's like the picking ranks.
No, it's happened once. Sorry, but still.
Yeah, picking ranks is terrible because if you're in one of those leagues, like a 10-person thing where it's like, hey, let's see who's gonna win this. There is literally no way to beat a person who picks ranks except get extremely lucky. If you're not.
Plus, it's no fun to just pick the top seeds.
It
The
isn't.
fun part about college basketball, the tournament, is picking like upsets
Huge
and then
upsets.
watching them happen or trying to watch them happen. See, that's what I love about making brackets is like making these wild guesses and then watching the games and seeing if it happens.
The best part to me is finding the 5-12 upset. Because there's always
a 5-12 upset.
5-12 upset. That messes me up every year.
I
Hate
this last year, I was confident that there wasn't one. I'm like, no way.
How
There's not
can
gonna
you
be
say
one.
there isn't one?
I don't know. I didn't feel
Always
like
is.
I didn't feel like any one of them had really a chance, so I didn't pick one, and like 3 of them won. And I was like, you're kidding me.
You know who I want to see in the tournament?
Who?
I want to see Darian in the tournament.
You want to see Penn?
wanna see
I was
Penn.
watching. Okay, so Zach Sharif posted a link yesterday, I think it was, about like the top 50 like breakout players for college basketball, like all of college basketball, and Darian was like number 20.
Seriously?
Was
Yeah.
he?
That's
Oh
awesome.
my god.
And they were talking about exactly what we were talking about a couple of, like, the last podcast where we were saying that they could have a tournament run in sight, and they were saying that with the Darian they could see a tournament.
Yeah, and they also have this guy from Africa who.
Yeah, you mentioned that in the last podcast.
He's their point guard, and he's pretty good. The thing I like about Darian is he showed so much improvement down the stretch. If you look at his game by game thing, like the first half of the season, he had like 5 or 6 minutes a game, and he would get like 4 points and like a pair of rebounds each game, and it was just nothing. And then he missed one game against, I think it was Montana or something like that, and then he started playing like a ton more and a ton more and a ton more. And there was this stretch of like 5 or 6 games where he had double-digit points every single time, and he had like 2 or 3 double-doubles, and he played like a ton after that. He ended the season averaging just under 18 minutes a game, but he had over 7.5 points a game and 4.5 rebounds a game in 18 minutes. That's pretty impressive.
And you know what's actually kind of cool is one thing that colleges often do for players, especially if they're smaller colleges, is if they're from other states, they'll, like, on their senior year, they might do a favor for them and, like, play a game in another state, like, for them. So I'm kind of wondering if, like, when he's a senior, if Penn comes to UW to play.
That would be really cool.
Like,
I doubt that would happen, but that would be the coolest thing to
they
see.
do that. They do that a lot. College basketball
I would
and
love to
football
see
actually
that.
does that a lot. They do it as a favor to their best players usually.
Did they do that with Siva?
No, they didn't. But Louisville was actually really good, so they didn't need to come to UW for anything.
Right.
And, you know, Penn might ask UW, and UW might say no. But, you know,
The way
it'd be
UW
cool.
assembles its non-conference schedule, they'll probably say yes.
That'd be actually, I would, well, Penn might be good by then, too.
Yeah.
But that would be really cool to see. I would not be a UW alum at the time, but I might make an excuse to try to come home to see the game.
Yeah.
If I end up in Syracuse or something where it's close-ish to Penn, that'd be cool to
Yeah.
try to go to like
They,
a close time
Who's it?
place to see.
NBC Sports
Yeah.
broadcasts a couple Ivy League games, and I saw one of his games last year, and it was pretty.
I want to do that
exciting.
this year. That'd be interesting.
So yeah, I'll figure out if they're gonna do some this year.
So between Theo and Darian, those are the only two we have to
Yeah.
boast about. We didn't have anyone last year. No
No.
one made it. No athlete made it big last year.
No.
It's just something about, 2012.
2012, yeah. Their motto was "It all ends with us" or whatever.
Yeah.
Dang it! They cursed us!
They did.
Yeah,
They really do
sports-wise,
though. I mean, think about it. We have Devin Grove, who's track and field, which.
I mean, he's really good, but that doesn't get a lot of television hype.
No, not at
You'll
all.
end up, hey, Olympics maybe.
Oh yeah, that's true. He could be in the Olympics.
We have Josh Weichel might play for Montana in football.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Are they?
He's talking about it.
Okay.
No,
Right.
Montana's terrible. So that doesn't mean anything.
But still, I mean, if you're the best player in a bad team, then you still get a lot of.
No,
That's true.
we
but I
all
don't
know
if he's
Josh
gonna be the
Weichel will
best
end up
player.
at Wazoo, though.
Is that what he said?
Oh.
They're a huge Wazoo family.
Oh well, there you go.
Well, yeah, but he wants to play football, and Montana's wants him to come play football for them. So I don't know.
Who else do you think
Football. Jake Masters.
as a kicker?
He's a good kicker. He's a little too short for me, though. No offense to him, but kickers are always like 6'2",
They're always
6'3".
short though.
Yeah, but they have those long legs. That's how they kick the ball so far. Jake Masters doesn't quite have the longest legs. So, He might play for a small college. I don't know.
Or he
But
could switch to baseball,
I
which is
saw-
also he's a
yeah.
really good pitcher.
He's a really good pitcher. I have caught for him in a couple games.
Does
He's
John
got
Lyon
some
still play
of his-
baseball?
John Lyon does still play baseball. John Lyon is. God, it
He
breaks my
could-
heart. He's one of the could have been so good guys, but every time he walks out on the mound, like something just goes wrong.
Yeah, wasn't there? Oh my gosh. Okay, when we were in junior high baseball, they talked about how John Lyon had to pitch like 100. It was like 200 pitches, and his dad wasn't happy about that, and because of that, they had to start keeping track of pitch counts. So I'm wondering if maybe they are like overworking him because he's really good.
Maybe.
That kind of thing tends to happen.
Yeah. But yeah, John Lyon, he could be really good. Other than that, I mean, baseball. You got Jordan LaFave, who he's good, but he's one of those guys that just makes a few too many errors.
Mm-hmm.
Carson, he's good, but
He's
he's not
fast.
quite good enough.
He's
you know.
fast too,
Yeah.
and he's strong for a short guy.
And then we have Steve Hopkins in
For golf, yeah.
Who he's another guy who's really good, but golf you got to be a serious cut above in golf to make a name for yourself. And Juanita has one of those guys. His name is Frank Garber.
Mm-hmm.
He's 2-time defending state champion, and he's going to defend again this year. He won by 8 strokes in districts.
Yeah.
For 3A this year.
But then there's also guys like Austin Lashley in swimming.
Oh yeah.
He's good, dude. I was on swim team last
So,
year, and
Yeah.
he may have. I'm not sure if he actually did break the 500 or not 500, the 50 free record for the school. But I know he's come pretty close at least.
So yeah, we have a bunch of guys in small sports that are pretty good, but we're
Not the big viewable sports, which is
Yeah.
it's still awesome to have a lot of representation from sports. But yeah, I mean it's actually it's still fun to like follow those guys.
Yeah, definitely, it really is.
And I guess we'll see where that takes us. So what's up?
Yeah, we'll see. What I like is, when it comes to like the long run, it's cool to say, yeah, that guy came from my high school. But one thing I'm excited about is Buda Baker from Bellevue in football.
Oh yeah.
If he's pro, I'll say we played against him in
We
football
played
in
against
high
him,
school.
yeah.
So I mean, that's also pretty cool.
Yeah, I still like to be able to say I played on the same field as Theo for about 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing about our school though is that you can't really look at the major sports anymore, like the major team sports, because I mean with football obviously there's Bellevue, and we can't really. I mean you can't compare us.
We're not as good
with
as Bellevue. No.
No, nobody's
Yeah.
as good as Bellevue.
And
Bellevue
then
was number one.
I
in the
mean we're good
country
with
last year.
baseball. I mean we're
We won-
pretty darn good in baseball.
We were.
Districts last year. We won districts in baseball.
Oh,
last
did
year.
we?
Yeah.
We're a really good baseball team.
Yeah.
Consistently.
And who got scholarships for baseball last year? Didn't
Stevie got one, I think.
Stevie and Nick? Didn't Nick get one?
Nick Johnson goes to. I know this.
And
one.
Bryan's he goes to like Whitman or something.
Yeah, he goes to Whitman. That's
And
what
Brian Wong's older brother.
Alec Wong.
Alec Wong, yeah, thank
I
you.
didn't know he got one.
He might have. I know he was good, second
He's
base.
good, yeah.
Which is interesting. It reminds me of Colton Wong, who's also the second baseman for the Cardinals.
Yeah, who got picked off. Oh my god.
I actually really like Colton Wong because I just like players that are from the University of Hawaii. I just like the University of Hawaii.
See,
Because in my NCAA basketball team, I played as them, and I tried to get them to be good.
I wish that the University of Hawaii was good at something, but
They were good at football for a while,
they were, but
and they have the weirdest mascot ever, the Rainbow Warriors.
Yep. But there's no reason to go to that school. It's terrible education.
Is it?
So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's Hawaii. Nobody wants to get educated. Everybody wants.
People just want to go sit on the beach and
Yep.
party.
And so,
Yep. You have anything to say, Lexi,
About Hawaii, no.
or just in general? Because I think we're about wrapped up here. We've been talking for like an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So,
we had a good
One
conversation.
thing I
Any
want to say
topics?
is Uehara.
yeah.
I'm going to stick with that. That's going to be my thing for the day.
What do you mean you're gonna stick with that?
Uehara. I'm just going to keep saying it.
Uehara, okay.
Oh,
I'm
because
rubbing it in your face.
because that made her win 6-5.
Oh. I don't know if it was the Uehara thing that made her win 6-5. I think it was the.
It was a close. I tried to be a fair judge, but
I think it was the Carlos Beltran thing that made her win 6-5.
a different
Carlos Beltran.
a different person may have a different
Hey,
neutral
let's
judge
remember
may have
that
judged
Bogart
differently.
should have won third anyway, so.
A different neutral judge may have judged differently. We would, maybe if we got Tristan here to kind of co-judge with me, but
Tristan would have sided with me for the Red Sox.
well, Tristan's busy all the time, but
yeah, with his girlfriend.
Anyway,
He's on that lady life.
Yeah. Anyway, so any topics left for you guys?
I think we're good this time around.
We're good. All right. So that's a wrap. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Anders. See ya.